Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV. The main talking points on Monday night's programme. David Weir says Rangers are happy with their two new additions. Aberdeen submit plans for their new stadium, and Hibs have a contingency plan if talks fail with Chris Commons. That's just a few of the topics we'll be discussing on tonight's programme. Gordon Smith once again is with me on this Monday night, and our bookroom guest as ever is Mark Guidi. Delighted to have both guys with us. We will also discuss the results across the three divisions in Scotland, Championship, League 1 and League 2 at the weekend, and possibly look ahead to maybe some of those mouth-watering Scottish Cup ties as well. So first and foremost, let's cut to the chase. David Weir was talking this morning about Rangers. They of course lost to RB Leipzig yesterday by 4-0. But first of all, he discussed the two new signings, John Terrell and Emerson Hyndman.
It's a matter of putting a number on it. I think it's continually trying to improve, and it's not purely investment. It's got to be good investment, and it's got to be in the right areas, and it's got to be, hopefully improving the team. But it's difficult because of the money that's around elsewhere and who you're competing with, and the English market's inflated, and then you've got a Chinese market that's challenging that. So it's very difficult to, spending money doesn't guarantee anything.
So he's got two new faces in, and I don't think he's ruling out the possibility, alongside Mark Warburton, of them maybe looking at any other additions, Mark Guidi.
Yeah, I think they'd like to freshen up the squad, Peter, and they'd probably like to try and get a couple of permanent signings in, somebody they can bed in, and they're going to be working with for a longer period rather than loan signings. But the market is a difficult place to operate in just now. But certainly I think Mark Warburton would want to strengthen his squad, and what happened yesterday in terms of, it'll just be a reminder that the distance have still got to go.
Yeah, Mark Warburton viewed yesterday as a worthwhile friendly rather than taking an easier one at home.
I can see what he meant by that, because you're testing yourself when you take a friendly like what they did. I mean, the German football's a better standard than we have, there's no doubt about it. And to be fair, Leipzig, they probably, when they arranged the friendly, maybe wouldn't even realise at that time Leipzig were going to be doing so well, sitting second top of the division, just behind Bayern Munich. So I think it's a test for your players as well. So I agree with that principle. If you take an easy friendly, what do you gain from it really, just other than giving the players just a run out? That's probably given him also a bit of an indication of where he is in terms of the quality of player that Rangers have, in terms of how they can progress. Because if they do get into second place and finish in the league this year, they're going to be playing in European football next year, and that's a good test as to how they're going to be coping with good opposition.
This was David Weir's take on that 4-0 defeat to the Bundesliga side.
Obviously disappointed with the result, but I think, as a learning experience, I think in the longer term it would be a great thing for us. It will shows us a level, that the top teams in Europe are competing at. It gives us a benchmark, and I think, there was loads of positives within that. Some of the lads within the game enjoyed the challenge, and some aspects that we did well, and also a lot of aspects we've got to work on. So, just continually learning about ourselves and learning about the team, and try to compare ourselves against the best.
Yeah, the gulf was there for all to see, but the spending power, Mark, is vastly different from Leipzig to Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Oliver Burke, £15 million or however it was in that region, to go there in the summer from Notts Forest. So yeah, it's night and day. You can't compare. But I think, as Gordon said there, it's what Rangers needed. They've been out for 2 weeks after the Old Firm defeat. They're back into training. They've got a massive cup tie on Saturday, and getting that run would be exactly what Mark Warburton would have wanted. Yeah.
Can you see him throwing in the two new signings?
I think it obviously depends how they did in the game, where they fit in, because what you'll have to do is to look at it and say, right, okay, does he want to put two new players in the team? But they've come from a higher level. I know Mark was talking about earlier about getting loans. In January window, it's a lot easier to get loan players in unless you spend a bit more money, because if you wait until the summer, a lot of players are out of contract then, but there's nobody out of contract generally at this time of year, and you have to spend a bit more money to get players in. So two loan signings, good quality teams have come from, and they're playing at the highest level. And if they did well in that game, then I think he'll be thinking about putting them in the cup tie.
Okay, let's switch our attention to Aberdeen. They were out in Dubai taking on a friendly match as well as some warm weather training. Of course, today they've submitted their plans for a new stadium at Kingsford. It's a 20,000 capacity stadium, and clearly if they can get the all clear from the City Council, the only thing they'll have to worry about, Mark Guidi, is financing it.
Yeah, well, that's always the thing. It looks great, you know, the drawings there, Peter. It looks first class, and it's probably long overdue. But I think what's more important than a stadium is having a training facility. And you know, when they've been out in Dubai there last week, they've read the Aberdeen players saying that, and Derek McInnes and previous managers have said we need a training facility. A first class training facility helps you improve players, helps you attract players, so that you've got better quality to go and fill your new stadium on a Saturday.
Yeah, and having seen the plans of you know, the surrounding area around the stadium as well, that's exactly what will be in place if they can get the money for it, Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea to have everything centralised there, because where they are, they're limited now where the current stadium is. The only thing it does, it takes away a little bit of the history of the club when they change stadium. I saw it myself at Man City. Used to play at Main Road, and it was a fantastic stadium. The supporters, then they moved to the Commonwealth Games stadium, and it's not quite the same atmosphere, but it is a bigger stadium. They get more people in, and they can actually develop round about it, whereas in Main Road it was totally restricted because of the housing around. Pittodrie's the same, so I think it's a great idea, and I think the stadium looks fantastic. You said the problem might be the financing of it, but all in all, when they build new stadiums, they also cater a lot more for the change in the public's perception of what they want at a football match in terms of catering and all that sort of thing, with different lounges. And the older stadiums, they didn't really quite have that in place to start with. And most of them have tried to add it to it,
yeah.
But the new stadium will cater for that.
And to the here and now, Cardiff still have a bit of time if they're going to tempt Aberdeen with a big offer for Johnny Hayes, but Derek McInnes says it's going to take a big offer.
Well, I totally agree with Derek McInnes on that. You don't want to lose your best players in January, particularly when you're still in the hunt to finish second place. And if you do, then for me, a player such as Johnny Hayes, when you look at the money that's going around down south for a championship club, bearing in mind the importance of Cardiff staying in that division, then I think Aberdeen shouldn't be looking to sell for any less than £1 million. Johnny Hayes is worth that and more.
Yeah. Just before we go to the break, let's switch our attention to what happened at the weekend. Championship took centre stage. Here's the results, and there were a few that raised a few eyebrows because it was a good weekend if you were a Hibs fan. Chris Commons, in his last game on the loan spell, scored the winner at Dumbarton. Dundee United, it says 3-0 there, but I can tell you it was 3-all. They were 3-1 up at one point, and then I think Dundee United would like it to be 3-0. Apologies, but nevertheless, they got a draw out of it. Fought back for a draw, but it means that Hibs have a 6-point advantage. Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, I know there's no Premier football, but I thought the Championship had a lot of interesting games at the weekend, Peter. You know, you had the two games at the top where Dundee United, you know, had a hard job in their hands. They were 1-0 up, then 3-1 down not long after that, and it's a fantastic comeback. They'll be happy in the end up to get a point, but Hibs had done the business at a difficult place to go, Dumbarton, so they get the 2 extra points from it. There was other games in the Division 2 in terms of, at one stage, St Mirren were losing and Ayr United were winning, and then those games turned around, because that was significant in the basis of the fact that there's a 7-point gap from St Mirren to Ayr United, and if those results had stayed the same, the score lines, then the gulf would have been huge for St Mirren's point of view. 10 points to try and pull back, but it didn't happen. And then you had Morton, obviously, with a great victory against Wraith Rovers to put themselves in a really strong position for going for that, challenging for the playoff place. Yeah,
6 points is a nice cushion for Neil Lennon to have. I think all this week will be about Chris Commons and whether he can secure him on a longer term deal. I think all the cards lie with Celtic on this one, Mark. If not, there's a suggestion in the Evening News in Edinburgh that maybe they're looking at a Man United loan deal, Josh Harrop coming in if the talks fail with Commons.
Yeah, well, the thing about Chris Commons is, I think he said a wee taste of Hibs now. I think he was really tempted to stay and help them go over the line. But as you say, it's not down to Hibs, it's down to Celtic and it's down to the player. But they do have options to look at. But that gap they've got at the top of the table, Peter, is a nice one. And looking at the other quality that Neil Lennon's brought in the past couple of weeks, I think Hibs will win that title.
Yeah, is this the point now where there's no return for anybody catching them? Although, I've heard a number of players and managers saying that, even Jim Duffy saying that they can still catch them.
They can turn around. I wouldn't have included Morton in that, but they're getting closer to it. I mean, they've got a game in hand from the position they're in now, so they could push quite close to Dundee United. So I still think, like Mark, Hibs will win it.
Okay, you can give us your view on that at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and Facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. After the break, we're going to talk Brendan Rodgers and Celtic coming back from their warm weather training. Brendan Rodgers asking for even more in the second half of the season. We'll get the thoughts of Gordon Smith and Mark Guidi on that and much more after the break. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's football show. Gordon Smith and Mark Guidi are with me. Just prior to the break, we were looking at the results in the Championship. Let's have a look at the results in League One over the weekend. Couple of games falling foul of the weather. Good win for Peterhead away at Alloa, and Stenhousemuir coming off the bottom of the division with that win over Stranraer. And in League Two, in Saturday's fixtures, another couple that didn't make it due to the weather as well. But Arbroath with a good win there, and Elgin City edging out Annan in a 5-goal thriller, and Forth are still at the top of the table despite slipping up with a draw against Stirling Albion. Okay, Celtic back from their warm weather training in Dubai, and again ominous words from Brendan Rodgers. He's calling on the players to step it up even more in the second half of the season, Mark.
Yeah, and I think obviously what they want to do is first of all win the title, secure it as quickly as possible, and B, to stay unbeaten, to get more than, is it 103 points might be the record, something like that. So they're on course to get 110, 111, 112. So major targets here, and the thing will be for Celtic in the second half of the season, Peter. Every club obviously motivated to play against them, but there'll be extra motivation to be the first club to beat them. So I totally understand where Brendan Rodgers is coming from. Yeah,
they brought in Eboué. I mean, you couldn't rule them out bringing in someone else again before the end of the window, as well as players going out, Gordon.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the whole thing about the window is, I mean, it's 1 month, but I'll tell you what, most of the thing happens in the last day. Yeah. Because it's like a game of poker with these clubs. It's the bids going in. One team they know sometimes the team has to take it. That's why the Aberdeen one you were talking about earlier on as well will probably happen on the last day. Johnny Hayes, Cardiff will be in bidding that last day just in order to get a price from. But the whole thing about the Celtic is, Mark's absolutely right. What you have to do as a manager is get the players motivated in some way. And what's happened is they've already got two titles really. They've got the League Cup won, and they've got the league sewn up. It's a question of when, not if, for the league. So what he has to do is get his players fired up in order to get them to have ambitions for the next part, and that's what he's doing now. He's saying you want to keep winning games, get a record for wins, win the league as quickly as they can, make it in a record for number of points, and get a treble. That's what he's doing, and it's the right thing to do as a manager, and I think he knows the game well, Brendan Rodgers. He knows exactly what he has to get from his players. Yeah,
I don't think Darren Young will be too happy at the fact that obviously it'll be as strong a squad as possible for the Scottish Cup game at the weekend, just on the basis of what you were saying there, and obviously reports in the papers this morning suggesting that he's keen to try and get an extended stay for Patrick Roberts as well. I would say that's on the cards, but when you look at Manchester City's for him, you wonder whether they're going to start hauling back a few of the loan players.
Yeah, I mean they're having a torrid time just now under Guardiola. I like Patrick Roberts. I think he likes it here, and I'm sure it'll be an option that he will consider. And if Man City are going the way they're going, with all respect to Patrick Roberts, I don't think he'll be the kind of player that they would be looking to come in and help them be successful next season. So I think Celtic stand a good chance of extending the loan. Yeah,
just a couple of points I want to get your thoughts on. Some Scottish news with regards to a player coming back to Scottish football. Gordon, Henri Anier is now back in Scotland. He's signed for Inverness Caledonian Thistle.
Yeah, I thought he was a good player. He spelled at Dundee United. I think he's just been out in Sweden playing there. Their season finished December, November, in fact it was. So he'll not have been playing much, but he obviously keeping himself fit. But he could be a good sign that Inverness needs some players in. They're in a dicey position at the moment. They need to get somebody in there, somebody that can score goals as well, that kind of level of experience. I mean, he's got about 36, 37 caps for Estonia, so he's played at a high level over a long time, and he's still only 26 years of age, so I think he'd be a good signing.
Yeah, I think this is key at the bottom end. Whatever transfer dealings you can do, Mark, could be the difference between you getting relegated or even in a perilous playoff.
Yeah, well, I think the relegation, Peter, will come down to Kilmarnock, Hamilton and Inverness. I think that's the way it'll pan out over the next couple of months, so it's vital. Kelly, I've got a couple of boys in Inverness looking to do it, and I think Hamilton will try and get one or two in as well, and I think the rest that are in that cluster just now will pull away.
Yep. Best wishes, I think, from everyone in the football show to Callum Patterson. He is, he's undergone surgery today. It's to repair cruciate ligament damage. 20 years ago, that would have finished a footballer's career, Gordon.
Yeah, that's right. It's a lot better nowadays. I mean, it was interesting, the discussion we had at the weekend, Peter, that fills in with that. What we said is, why should players be thinking about going and getting moves in order to get money? Because this is the kind of thing that can happen to you. An injury like this can change your career. And let's hope he makes a full recovery from it and he gets back to the level he was at, because he was so close to getting a move. There's no doubt about it. He's got himself in the national team, and let's hope that this operation, as I say, the surgery is a lot better than it used to be in days gone past.
Just shows you how perilous it can be for a footballer, Mark, because he won't be back until October. So he's in that situation where he could be without any wages in the summer if he didn't agree to a new deal with Hearts.
Yeah, well, I think Hearts will obviously, there'll be a new deal there. It may well be in reduced terms for 6 months or so, and then look at after that. But it's a shame for the boy because he was doing ever so well. He had the chance of getting a move, and also for Hearts as well, because they have developed a player and turned him from a kid into an asset worth more than £1 million, and that's not an easy thing to do. So sympathy for Hearts as well.
Yep, absolutely. A couple of things that caught my eyes in the papers, one in the Guardian as well, that I think has implications for everyone. Off the back of Dimitri Payet, clearly wanting away, wants to go back to Marseille. David Gold, the co-owner of West Ham, says, we should look at shutting the January transfer window. He's talking obviously of the English Premier League, Gordon, because it would stop players being unsettled. I mean, Diego Costa comes into that, and I'm sure there are more than a few Scottish players who look to the January transfer window to get a move away.
I've never been in favour of it at any time since it came in. I've always thought teams should be able to sign players at any time. I don't mind if they have a restriction in terms of when it gets towards the end of the season, as they always did. They always had a cut-off point in March, and I believe that's okay. But see, the rest of the time, because what happens, it's only the big clubs that get all the attention, whereas other teams like to bring in somebody at other times. And players should be able to move clubs at the right time. It's not just what happens to be in January.
I think David Gold wants to actually shut the window, and then what you have at the start of the summer is what you have at the end of the season.
That could be a point. He's saying that there should only be a transfer window, and he's still saying there should be one window rather than two a year.
Yeah.
And I can understand why he's saying that, but I think there should be no window at all. I think they should be able to sign players at any time. Yeah,
and of course it's amazing that it's gathering a bit of pace now, because obviously the threat coming from the Chinese Super League, and we're now getting a situation where down south are questioning players' loyalty because they're having their heads turned by £30 million a year, Mark. I know for a fact if they'd offer you £30 million, we'd never see you again on this programme. But China has reacted. Next season, I think they're going to reduce it to 3 non-Chinese players playing per game in their league per club, and I think that's the right move, because eventually the bubble bursts. It's almost like the American Soccer League in the 70s. If you keep bringing in foreigners, that's a false economy and a false platform to build.
Yeah, it's also as well that the Chinese authorities want to build a Chinese national team, a team that's able to compete 15, 20 years from now at the highest level, FIFA, and qualify for World Cup. So what they're doing is they're getting the best coaches in, putting structures in place for scouting and development and all that, and then they're getting what you call the top players in. So that suggests to me that I think you could find maybe 20 of the best players in the world playing in China in the next couple of years, because they will all go after the absolute elite. And if we're talking about giving them $500,000 a week now to players, if they're only allowed to bring in 3, I don't think it'll be long before a player will be going to China and getting £1 million a week.
Yeah, yeah, I can't rule that out. Just before we go, got to mention, always good to mention him in 2017 because we mentioned him for 6 months in 2016. Joey Barton scored the winner for Burnley, Gordon. It's good to get him back on the programme. Listen, no harm to the lad. A
little bit of luck with it as well.
Well, listen, who cares? I mean, Gordon, you would take one that battered off somebody from 5 yards.
I might, yeah.
No harm to the lad. He's going to try and build his career again.
No, I think it's amazing what's happened, and I think that he's got to give a lot of credit to his manager, Dyke, who's brought him back to Burnley, because he left there when they just got promotion. There could be a lot of upset with everyone saying, well, you're walking out on us at this time, our biggest move. He goes to Rangers, doesn't work out there, and they still take him back. And despite everything that's going on in the background as well with the betting scandal that he's involved in and he's been accused of, then that's still a big risk for them to take him on board as well, and they have done, and he's paid them back, at least in that respect, and getting a winning goal for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's Joey Barton. I suppose over the weekend, even if you're worth £89 million, sometimes it doesn't go according to plan. Hashtag Pogba seemed to be the main trend on social media at the weekend, outstripping anything Joey Barton could come up with. Don't forget, join us tomorrow night on the programme at 7 o'clock. Thanks to Mark Guidi and to Gordon Smith. Good night.